Welcome back. National Assembly Speaker Thandi Modise's animal cruelty case has been dismissed by a court which found there's no prima facie evidence against her. She's been facing numerous charges relating to the neglect of animals on her farm in the northwest several years ago. Modise was accused of abandoning the farm along with the animals. The situation was so desperate that some of those animals, in fact, resorted to cannibalism. The executive director at the National Council of the SPCAs is Marcelle Meredith. She's joining us now to talk more about this case, and you've been a part of the legal battle against the National Assembly Speaker from the beginning, Marcelle, and now you're going to appeal this court outcome. On what grounds will you do that?
Well, we've instructed our attorneys, Harry Nell and his team from AfriForum, to take the matter to the appeal court. We feel that we have somehow been cheated. Justice has not been served. We're very angry. And this particular case is one of absolute importance when you consider just the very number of animals that have suffered during the time that we found the animals or went to the farm.
And I'm paraphrasing here, but the outcome yesterday when it was found that there isn't enough evidence to convict her on these animal cruelty charges was that it should in fact be the man who was left in charge of the farm who is made to take responsibility for what happened. Why is that not enough for you?
It's not enough because when we found the animals, there was no man on the farm, and there had not been anybody on that farm for a long time. We already had 50 dead pigs. We had other dead animals, including chickens, goats, geese, and the sheep were suffering as well. We had to remove every animal from that farm. This was a man which, during the hearing, we heard at some stages received money from a person who was unknown of perhaps 30 Rand a day. There was a time when somebody dropped off 200 Rand for him when he first apparently started this business. This was the business of attempting to help these animals. He was brought to the farm by a person who was known to him and who just said there was a possibility of a job. At that stage, he was left with 200 Rand for food. Now, somebody who is left on a farm to look after animals, surely they must have access to data in a cell phone. They must have access to a veterinarian. We're talking about a lot of animals on this farm. So surely one would have the wherewithal to run the farm. What happens if there was a fire on that farm? The food, as it was, had run out. How was he supposed to get food in? There was no food available. Mm-hmm. And incidentally, there was never one argument during the case stating that the animals did not suffer. It was an accepted fact that the animals suffered.
And Marcelle, I'm wondering if this may be early days, but I'm going to ask anyway. Are you and your legal team having any kinds of conversation about bringing forward more evidence? Because at this stage, the case was thrown out on the basis of a lack of evidence.
Well, that's difficult because we've closed the case. So we brought all our witnesses to court and we have closed the case. So one of the arguments that the attorney for Ms. Modise stated was that what happens if they don't bring a witness forward? We've also had the statement made that they would take us on for costs. So a number of innuendos have been made. But at the end of the day, it will be the High Court who will make the decision as to whether or not this court the High Court will decide whether or not the case will go forward. And if the High Court decide that, well, then it will be a complete different story.
How far are you willing to go with this case?
Absolutely all the way. We are talking about large numbers of animals suffering. And we're talking about our people in power should also be setting examples here. This case is just so important, purely, as I said, because of the large numbers, but because of the suffering. You can't imagine, can any of us just imagine starving to death, not being able to get out to eat the grass that's before you, not having any water to drink? We're willing to go all the way, whatever it takes.
Final question, Marcelle.
Time has come. Time has come in this country to take note, and as Gandhi has said, the greatness of a nation can be measured by the way that people treat their animals. We need to treat people well, we need to treat animals well, and we need to be setting examples.
Final question, Marcelle. What will you say to people who say this case has in fact taken on a political posturing to a degree, if you will?
I'm not sure that I should say what I would like to say. We are not here for political purpose. We are not racists. Our sole purpose is the welfare of animals.
Marcelle, good to speak to you. Marcelle is with the SPCA that's now going to take on appeal yesterday's court decision to free, if you will, basically Thandi Modise, the National Assembly Speaker, on those charges of animal cruelty over the death of animals on her farm, the mistreatment, broader mistreatment of animals on her farm in 2014 in the Northwest.